So, as I've discussed before, I have been diagnosed with severe depression and anxiety, but I've never taken medication for either of them. I was just diagnosed about a year and a half ago, and there are a lot of reasons why I felt like I just didn't want to explore medication right off the bat. But today we're going to talk about what the last few months have been like, why I have come to the decision to try antidepressants and anti-anxiety medication, and what I'm hoping to get out of them. So stick around. Hey y'all! Welcome to Real World with Megan, where we shine a light on mental health and the challenges we face in the real world. I'm Megan, and I'm so glad you're here. Alright, so if you've watched some of my previous videos, you know that since the coronavirus lockdown, I have been working from home since March 16th. It is now July 1st, and so it's been a while. It's been a while since I've left my house consistently. I thought that because I was about to graduate from graduate school, I would feel a lot better once my master's program was behind me and I was able to move forward. Once the summer started, once maybe I was able to leave a little bit, I've been able to, go see my family a couple of times. I did eat at a restaurant a couple of times, and I thought those things would make everything better, but they haven't. I'm still having days where anxiety or depression just hit me out of nowhere and completely knocked me out. I've always had this idea of once I get past X, everything will get better. Once I'm no longer working with a frustrating coworker, things will get better. Once I have a new job, things will get better. Once I'm promoted within that job. Once I'm through with my graduate degree. Once the coronavirus ends. All of these check marks that I feel like that thing is what is causing the depression and anxiety to be worse, and once that thing is gone, I'll feel a lot better. And then that thing comes and goes, and I don't feel better. Sometimes I feel significantly worse. Like, I really thought once I graduated, all of the stress and anxiety that went with being a full-time employee and also in a full-time master's program would just go away. And to an extent, that's kind of true. Like, the obligation of having to do homework went away. But then there was this new type of depression and anxiety wave that hit me of like, what am I going to do with my life? What has all of this been worth it? Did I make the right choice? And so that took some time to process. And then it was, okay, well, I feel like that's behind me now. So now I just need to get through this coronavirus lockdown and everything will be okay again. And I live in Texas. We are not through the lockdown. Things have gotten significantly worse. And now I feel like, okay, so I might be home for another 6 months? So I need to figure out how to get through this in a way that is sustainable. And I've been able to get some of my routines back in place, depending on the day. I've also talked about how it's easier to manage my mental health when I'm taking care of myself physically, when I'm eating well, exercising, doing my Bible study in the morning, doing meditation. But because of how overwhelming everything has felt, a lot of that has just kind of gone out the window. I've tried really hard to stay on top of eating well, but when anxiety is really heavy, I get really nauseous. I very much have physical responses to my mental health problems. So I've been eating a lot of butter noodles, a lot of club crackers, things that are very bland starch, which, I'm eating them in small quantities because I'm feeling like I'm about to throw up, but the food themselves isn't necessarily super healthy. When I'm feeling better, I'm eating, salads and veggie pasta and things like that, but it's definitely not consistent. And then when my depression hits, I don't want to eat anything at all. I don't feel nauseous, but I don't feel hungry, and I don't have an appetite, so the thought of eating, it's hard to explain the feeling, because it's not nausea, it's this, just no, that's not something that sounds appealing, and I think that it might make me feel bad, so I'm just not going to. So the mixture of not being able to eat well, feeling so overwhelmed all the time, and also physically not good, it makes me not want to exercise even when I try. There's also that the heavy limbs feeling and the stomach in knots and my chest feels tight, so it's hard to breathe. I feel like I'm constantly on the verge of hyperventilating, and all of those make it really difficult to want to do any sort of physical activity. So even like taking a walk, because also it's Texas and it's 100 degrees outside at 8 a.m., it's just been really hard to do consistently. And then I've been feeling weirdly distant from God for a while. I feel like I kind of checked out when all of this started happening, and now I'm having a really hard time for the first time in my life just getting back into Bible study and reading the Word and praying regularly, which is something I haven't experienced since college. So, 10 years almost. So, that's been a weird, hard season for me, too. So, all of that has led to this, what I've been feeling like is a roller coaster of mental health issues. There's days that I wake up and I'm feeling great and I'm productive and I'm able to knock a bunch of things off my to-do list. I have a positive outlook. I want to get back to some of my hobbies. I feel like I want to do things. I feel joy, and then I'm expecting that feeling to last. And then the next day when I wake up, everything is different. I have the weight of depression sitting on my chest and I can't get out of bed, or anxiety has consumed me so much that the thought of getting out of bed is overwhelming and terrifying. And every time I think about logging in for work, I just start feeling sick again. Or I wake up and everything feels fine, but then the anxiety brick hits me in the face, or the depression cloud descends, and suddenly my entire day is derailed. So it's just been a lot, and it's been hard, and the inconsistency and unpredictability of it is what has really been the worst. And that always existed to some extent, but it would usually be blocks of time. So I would go 2 or 3 days of feeling anxious or depressed, and then a week or two of feeling perfectly fine, and then 2 or 3 days of not feeling well, a week or two of feeling perfectly fine. And now it's like hour by hour, minute by minute, and I cannot keep doing this. So today I have a meeting with my counselor. I'm going to discuss the possibility of going on medication. To be completely honest, I have avoided it for the last year and a half, partially because I am truly worried about the side effects, which is what I need to discuss with her. I've been in the deep hole of hopelessness and suicidal ideation before, and I'm worried that if I go on a medication that makes that worse, am I going to be able to come out of that pit this time? So we'll see what she says, but I'm optimistic. I'm hoping it can bring me some consistency, that the positives outweigh the negatives. From what I've heard, medication has come a long way in the last decade, so I'm not sure. My fear about medication is rooted in the reality of what medication is right now. I think it might be based on some outdated information. And also, every person reacts differently to every type of medication. It takes a while to figure out what perfect combination of specific drugs matches the specific way that your depression and anxiety presents itself in your brain. So it's a lot of things that just are going to take some trial and error. And part of me is afraid of that trial and error process, that journey might make things a lot worse. But again, I'm also at a point where I can't keep living this way. I can't keep living in fear of what this day is going to feel like. I need to know that when I wake up, I'll be able to get through the day without just feeling overwhelmed and upset or scared or just feeling nothing. And if I can get some of that, maybe not even to stop, but just to lighten up a little bit, to maybe even get back to the point where it is blocks of time and not every minute I have to wonder, I feel okay right now, but will I feel okay in 30 minutes? Should I start this project? Am I going to be able to finish it? If I go and take an anxiety nap, will I be able to get back out of bed? So I will keep y'all updated. I will try to let y'all know how the adjustment process works, what I've been prescribed, how it makes me feel, whether it helps or hurts. And I hope that this brings maybe some encouragement that if you have been feeling this way during lockdown or at any other point in your life, you are not the only one. If you feel like you've been avoiding medication because you don't want to seem weak, because I think that's part of what my fear has been too, that I should be able to manage this on my own, that I know when I am doing all the things I need to be doing, I'm taking care of my body and my mind and my emotions, and I'm consistent in that, things are a lot manageable. If I get hit with a wave of depression, I'm able to write it out a lot better. So part of me felt like if I'm not writing it out well, it's because I'm doing something wrong and I'm not trying hard enough to be healthy. But that's not true. That's a lie my depression and the anxiety brain are telling me. Maybe to keep me from getting help. But I think that there's strength in admitting that you can't do it alone. That it's brave to say, I need help with this. That I'm really struggling and I can't live this way anymore. And if that's you, you are brave. You are strong. You do not have to do it alone. It is okay to ask for help. And there are people who want to help you. So, battle on, stand firm, and remember, you're not in this alone.